What's good, YouTube? It's Nas and we back with another video. Road to 1,000 subscribers, of course. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about James Harden. And if you don't know, the Cleveland Cavaliers just went down 2 games to the Detroit Pistons, in which, yeah, it's time to talk about James Harden. And these last 2 series against the Raptors and the Cavs, he hasn't shown up. And I get it. He's dealing with a fractured finger, in which that obviously hinders your basketball movement. But at the same time, you've been playing through it since February. There's really no excuses for you at this point. And now everybody's making the obviously assumption, which we are not wrong, in calling James Harden a playoff choker. He disappears in the he disappears in the playoffs. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And it's not even like me trying to be hypocritical about James, because obviously in the Raptors series I talked about it. I didn't feel like some of those games were his fault. I felt like some of the games were on Donovan Mitchell, their best player. But to be quite honest with you, this series right now, it hinders on James Harden's ability to score the ball and make the ball. And that's not what he's doing against the Detroit Pistons. And he doesn't even have their toughest matchup in Asar Thompson guarding him. That's Donovan Mitchell's job. James Harden is being defended by Cade Cunningham, and he's letting Cade off the hook. Because we know Cade is the offensive engine. And obviously Cade is guarding the second or the primary ball handler on the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I'm not even calling James Harden the second best player on the Cavs right now. That's how bad he's looked throughout these 2 series. I would say even Evan Mobley didn't show up, and I would consider Evan Mobley the second best player on this team. But we're not even going to get into that right now. We're going to get into James Harden, because there's no reason why I'm sleeping on this video. I'm like, should I make this? I was thinking, should I make that last night? Or how does he have more turnovers than field goals? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. I get the Detroit Pistons play a physical defense, and it seems like the Cavs weren't ready for it at all. And in the second half, it seemed like they seemed to figure out a lot of things, because they only had turnovers in basically like 2 or 3 in the late fourth quarter, and they went the whole second half without doing that. Like, it just doesn't explain much to me how this Cleveland Cavs team is down 2-0 to a Detroit Pistons team. I get it. The Pistons are playing great basketball since them going down 3-1 against the Orlando Magic. But there is no excuse for how James Harden is playing, how the Cavs are playing. And obviously you can't blame game 2 on Donovan Mitchell, because he showed up in the first half. The second half he cooled down a little bit, but he showed up to play and he was ready. And I just don't know if you would be worried about James Harden at this point, because I read a quote from Donovan Mitchell and he said, it's James Harden. We're not worried about James Harden. And it's making me think, should you be worried about James Harden? Because he has a history of doing this in this exact moment. And that history, I've made a lot of excuses for James Harden throughout his playoff struggles. Like, in Philly, there was no excuse there. He showed up basically the whole series, and then game 7 he disappears. Like in 2019, obviously Chris Paul gets down, he can't win 2 games by himself. Like, there's a lot of the excuses you can make about James Harden. And obviously James Harden is one of the best players to never win a ring, and when the Eastern Conference is as open as it is right now, you would expect James Harden to rise to the occasion. I get it, James is not this young player anymore. He's 36, about to turn 37, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that James Harden is no scrub, because we've seen it this season when obviously he was on the Clippers. He stepped up his game dramatically. When he first got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, he stepped up his game dramatically to play next to Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, when he fractured his finger, he was still having impactful games. But you're just looking at James Harden right now, and you're just not surprised. Like, everybody just expects James Harden to just disappear in the playoffs, and that's just not great for his reputation. I'm not even going to talk about the D-Wade versus Harden, because I know when Harden plays his worst type of basketball, he's going to get this comparisons to D-Wade, even though D-Wade was a 13th man when James Harden in this position with a fractured finger. But I'm not going to get into that right now. When you're looking at James Harden, you're looking at a player that obviously lost his explosiveness. He needs to use his shiftiness to get by you, and Cade Cunningham is a big burly body, pause. But when you're looking at what is going on with how he's being defended, like, you see that they collapse the rim when he gets to that floater. And the 3-point position, Cade is not jumping for any of his hesitations or his step backs. Like, Cade is in front of him every time, and James Harden needs to figure out a way. Like, fourth quarter, like, when the game was on the line, basically, like, James Harden basically just dribbled out the play and got a turnover right after that, when I felt like he should have swung the ball to Donovan Mitchell when he obviously didn't have it, or he still doesn't have his rhythm. But it just doesn't look like James Harden is James Harden right now. And obviously they're going back home, so I'm not ready to say that this series is over, but it's hard for me to believe in this Cleveland Cavaliers team the way James Harden is playing basketball, and James Harden is not capitalizing on this moment. So now you look back at the Darius Garland trade, and obviously Darius is younger. Darius is injury prone, yes, but Darius is younger, and I do think I would have the comfortability in Darius Garland to show up in a series like this against the Pistons, because I felt like every time the Cavs matched up with the Pistons, Darius Garland was the outlier piece for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, because no disrespect to Cade Cunningham, but I don't think Cade is sticking Darius Garland. Darius Garland's too fast, he's too twitchy, he's too shifty. And maybe that's me glazing Darius Garland, but I don't know. I just expect the better out of James Harden at this very moment, in which he's supposed to capitalize on this. Like yesterday, he had 10 points, 3 of 13 from the field, 4 turnovers. The game before, May 5th, he had 22 points. Yes, 6 of 15 from the field. He had 9 free throws, and he had 7 turnovers. So he's obviously getting to the free throw line. He has more free throws than field goals. Like, it's getting embarrassing to the point where we have to start talking about this, in which I don't want to put this on James Harden's already credible and obviously damaged resume, but it's going to have to be a point where we have to talk about James Harden, in which he is a playoff choker, and I don't want to do that, because I've seen James Harden show up in playoff moments when it mattered, and obviously when it gets to the nitty and gritty and the breaking point, more times than not, James Harden has disappeared when his teams have needed him the most. And this team with the Cavs, it's too inconsistent for James Harden to not appear on a nightly basis when you're not even being guarded by the best defender. But that's just my opinion on what's going on with James Harden. And obviously the series going back to Cleveland, my bad. Cavs have home advantage. They've been a really good home team throughout this playoffs. They didn't lose a game on their home court against the Raptors. So you look at that, and you look at basically maybe your role players playing better at home and getting a little bit of more help from Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Your two bigs, who I feel like are getting absolutely bitched by Jalen Duren, which needs to be a whole nother conversation itself, because Jalen Duren was not looking like this against the Orlando Magic the way he's looking against two big men. But I don't know. Maybe it's me watching and me having to rewatch the game because I wasn't home for most parts of the game. But I'm just really disappointed in James Harden. And it even has James Harden fans even saying, I'm pissed off watching James Harden. Like, I texted my friend, I'm like, damn, they about to get on your boy's ass. And he said, good, I'm pissed off with him, man. I'm like, damn, yeah, I don't get it. But when you look at James Harden, obviously he's one of the best players to ever play this game. But at the same time, it gets to a point where we want to see you show up in the playoffs. I get it. You're old. But at the same time, you have been great this season. So we're not going to use the old excuse on you now after you've been showing up basically the whole entire year and you disappearing like you used to do when you're younger. We're just not going to go for that as basketball fans. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about James Harden throughout these playoffs, how y'all felt, and how could he be better for obviously this Cleveland Cavaliers team that is down 2-0 right now. Not me saying the series is over, but if they lose this next one, yeah, it's over. But y'all let me know down below how y'all feel. Subscribe. What's good, y'all? If y'all made it to the end of the video, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And there's a video right here. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it if you like this one. And the channel icon's right there if you want to just check out the channel in general. And yeah, leave a like too, because it really helps the algorithm push me out. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching this video nonetheless.